there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bosk's Bounty video. And in this video, myself and my son are going to be opening some more older figures. We haven't done one of these videos in quite a while, and my son has been asking me very nicely if we can do a video opening some of the older figures. So what we've decided to do is a Tatooine special. Because of the Book of Boba Fett, we've picked some older figures which aren't necessarily in the Book of Boba Fett, but they're most certainly from Tatooine. And as you can see here, we have the Sand Trooper to start off with, but we do have 5 figures to open up. We have a Vintage Collection figure, we have a Power of the Jedi figure, and we have some Saga Collection figures to open. So without further ado, if you do happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like down below because it really does help the video and the channel. And Little Boss, just want to say hello.
Hi.
All right then, so let's take a look at the Sand Trooper first of all. So this is the Sand Trooper from the Saga Collection, and although the sculpt isn't as good as something that you can get now on the modern Stormtroopers, I still think this is a pretty good one, and it's nice with the black pauldron and everything, and I think it'll look pretty good in and amongst some other Sand Troopers. I don't think you're going to be able to tell too much. So on the back of the box here, we have some of the other figures in the line of the Saga Collection. We have the big bubble on these Saga Collection figures, and we're going to open him up now and check him out. All right then, so here he is out of the packaging, and like with all of the Saga Collection figures, you get these little hologram statues. And who's that, Little Boss?
Count Dooku.
That is Count Dooku, yep. So we'll just move that out of the way so we can take a look at the figure. So now, what was your first impressions of the Sand Trooper?
In the Vintage Collection, there's a sandy one and a non-sandy one, but this one's kind of in between.
Yeah, he is, and I actually quite like this one as well. Little Bossk is absolutely right. So the first release of the Sand Trooper was a clean version, and then the later release, I think it was VC 112, I want to say, he was like really sandy, and he was re-released in the 3.75-inch black series in the red and black boxes. And it's a great Sand Trooper, but I kind of like the deco on this one. I'm really digging the sand effects on this one. I think it looks great. And also, the other thing about this one is that he comes with the black pauldron, whereas the clean one comes with a white pauldron, and the sandy version in the Vintage Collection comes with the orange pauldron. So this gives you all 3 versions. And as I said at the beginning, it is one of those figures that is an older sculpt, but, you know, just standing there, he's going to look pretty good. He comes with loads of accessories. He comes with his staff thing here, which I believe is for the dewback. He has his backpack. He has the blaster, which goes in the holster. This little canister on the back is removable as well. And I really like this Sand Trooper. I think it's a good version of him, considering he came out in 2006, and definitely one for the collection. Okay then, so next up we have Dr. Evazan from the Vintage Collection. And as you can see by the packaging, it's a bit ripped here. And this gives me the opportunity to open this figure because I do have him carded. I have both variants carded. I have the one with the normal scar and then the one with the painted red scar. This is the one with the clean scar, which I'm going to be opening. And it's just great to finally get this figure loose in my collection. He's going to go very nicely with Ponda Baba. Little Bossk already does have this figure loose. I think he got it one Christmas. It was probably one of my collection that I ended up giving to him. But yeah, finally I can also have this figure loose. So let's have a quick look at the card back. There he is, Dr. Evazan, Cantina Patron, and great image of him there from the film with his horrible sort of pig nose and disfigured face. And I think the figure's really good as well. I do believe that this has come out in the Black Series recently in that sort of Cantina pack, and he will be single boxed as well. But, you know, once again, I think that facial sculpt's a little bit better on the 3.75-inch figure. He's VC 57 in the line, obviously from A New Hope on that Star Wars card, and there's the damage there. So no point keeping it like that. We might as well open it and have the figure loose. All right then, so here he is out of the packaging. And what do you think about this figure, Little Bossk?
He looks really cool because he has a pig nose.
He does, yeah. He has that sort of uplifted nose, completely disfigured face. And as you can see on this one, he doesn't have the painted scar. So there is a variant for all you variant hunters out there. Look for the one that has a painted scar on the face. So, but this is the non-painted one. And I'm quite happy with that, to have this one loose. Really nicely sculpted figure, as you can see. I love his outfit and everything, and looks very much like he does in the film. So really good to have this one loose. I'm not too sure if everybody knows that's watching this video, but at the moment I don't really have anywhere to put all of my Cantina patrons, so They are chilling out on my barge, and this one will go very nicely with all of those. So there you go then. That is Dr. Evazan from the Vintage Collection. Really, really good figure. Loads of articulation for a figure that's not really needed of all that articulation, but nonetheless, he has it anyway. So really good figure. And we move on to the next one. All right then, so moving on to a Power of the Jedi figure. This is Ketwal, another figure from the Cantina, I believe. And really good looking figure. I do love the Power of the Jedi packaging. Love the green. Really sort of nostalgic packaging, this one. And the figures were so much better than the Power of the Force figures that were sort of on steroids, essentially. You know, even the Lando was a really, really good Lando. So you could tell that the figures took a step up in quality when the Power of the Jedi line came out. I think this is what, 2001, is it? Something like that. Something like 2000, 2001. Yeah. So, all right then. So let's just take him out of the packaging and check out the figure. All right then. So here he is out of the packaging. Really, really good sculpting on this guy. Ketwal is his name. And he comes with these separate trousers which go around his mechanical legs, which Little Bossk wants to show you in a second. And there he is. Really good looking head there. But Little Bossk wanted to show you something to do with that head.
You can actually twist the head around and it's a whole different character.
So there you go, yeah. Now that is something that I learned off my good friend Daniel Chart. He said when I first got this figure, you know, turn the head around and you'll make another character out of it. Sorry, my friend, I cannot remember the character's name, but he reminds me of like Frog Lady, a bit like that. If you had to take that bit off there, it looks a bit like a frog, but really interesting that they did that with this figure, that you could turn the head around and it would make another character. So let's turn it back around like that. Really, really good. This is not soft goods, it's all plastic, but he still looks pretty good. So as I mentioned, you do get these trousers because at the moment he has these like stilts on. So you can see his little feet there are on these stilts to make him look taller. Very, very interesting concept and design that. But you can put these trousers on, which Little Bossk is just going to do now.
I just put the trousers on and I think he looks better like this.
He does, yeah, I think he does as well. Looks a lot better. Completes the character. Although I think the stilts are a good design. Clever little thing there, making a small character seem taller. I think he looks better with the trousers on. And those splits in the back are hidden by his sort of cloak, which is pretty cool. And he's just going to stand there like that. But yeah, one thing about this figure was the sort of head thing. That is really interesting, isn't it? Quite amazing. All right then, so next up we have Luke Skywalker from Tatooine. He is part of the Saga collection once again, and the reason I really wanted this figure is mainly for the poncho and the hat, and I'm really hoping that eventually when they bring out a new Farm Boy Luke Skywalker, that this poncho and hat would go quite nicely with them if they don't redo that part of that figure. I think it's a really nicely fitting poncho, as you can see here. Let's take a look without the glare. Fits in really well. Now, this figure is going to be lacking in some articulation, and, you know, I'm guessing the head sculpt isn't going to be too great on this from 2006. But let's crack him open anyway and take a look. I love the background of the card back there with the moisture evaporator there in the background. Awesome. All right then, so here he is out of the packaging, and I've got to say, I really do love this figure. It's old, the articulation is pretty poor from today's standards, but just the array of accessories that you get with this figure is awesome. Just a quick note, he did come with this Rebel Fleet Trooper hologram. I seem to have so many of these. This one's ultra common. I must have like 10 of these. But anyway, onto the figure itself. So let's take a look at that figure. I do love the poncho. The poncho's great. And there's the head sculpt. We'll just take the hat off just so you can see the head sculpt. So you can see there the face paint is not great. And even the sculpting's not too great either. So if you could imagine this figure with a brand new head sculpt with some better articulation, this would be flipping awesome. I do love the poncho, as I said. I think taking this poncho off and using it on a better figure or a newer figure might help. And you do get his little binos there, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to take the poncho off now just so you can see what's underneath. Here's the little hat. That's a pretty cool hat. So here he is without the poncho. And as I said, look, the head is really poor. It's sort of moves right at the bottom of the neck there. He does have the shoulders, but then he has those awful swivel elbows, a swivel at the waist, and yeah, the articulation is extremely dated on this figure. But as I said, just for the accessories alone, if you put that poncho there, his little binos and his hat, all of this stuff here is pretty awesome. So Little Bossk just wanted to tell you about the chest.
So in the chest from Obi-Wan Kenobi's homestead, you get the lightsaber that comes out of here.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool. So the lightsaber hilt is loose in there. That's awesome. Yeah.
And also in there, it's the training ball.
Okay, let's see if we can get some light on in there. There we go. So that is the training ball, isn't it? From when they trained on the Millennium Falcon. That is awesome. So loads of cool stuff in there. That chest is great. And does the lid close?
Yeah.
Go on then. Let's see if that clips down. There we go. Look at that. What a cool accessory that is on this figure. I mean, I think it's worth the money alone just for the accessories. As I said, we desperately need a new Farm Boy Luke. And if you've got this figure, these accessories are great. So as Little Bossk said, you've got the lightsaber hilt here that Obi-Wan gives to Luke. And that fits nicely in the top there, which is great. Look at that. That's fantastic. And the training ball being in there as well. That's just great. Here's the poncho, and I think the poncho is really movie accurate and it's great material. And as I say, that'll just look much better on a better figure. All right then, so now we have another Saga Collection figure, the final figure that we're going to be opening up in this video, and it is Labria from the Cantina. And this is another figure that desperately needs an update. I think this may even be pretty much the same figure that came out in the Power of the Force. Updated perhaps, but to me it looks very similar indeed. Sorry about the glare from the lights there, but these bubbles are huge. On the back there we can see some of the other figures from the line, and we're just going to quickly get this guy open. As I said, this is the sort of alien that needs updating desperately in the vintage collection maybe, especially if they're ever going to do a Mos Eisley Cantina. You need a better figure than this, but we're going to open him up anyway and take a look. And here he is out of the packaging. Really great design of an alien this, but as I said, the figure needs updating desperately. Zero articulation on the legs. He has a swivel at the waist, and really the only thing you can do is take his cloak off essentially, and that is it. He has a blaster, comes with his stand, no ankles, no knees, nothing from the waist down really in terms of articulation, and that for me is pretty poor. I know he just stands there in the Cantina, but I think, you know, in today's standards he needs a little bit more than that. What do you think of this figure, Little Bossk?
The only bit I really like is the horns on his head.
Yeah, it is a good design of an alien, it is, and of course we had one of those also in The Mandalorian in the prison episode, so if they were going to update this figure they could use the same head maybe for, or the sculpt at least, and paint it slightly differently for that character on the prison ship. But there you go then guys, that's all of the figures that we're going to be opening up today. Let's line them all up and take one final look. There you go then, so this is the 5 figures that we have opened up today for our Tatooine special of opening Star Wars figures. Some of them are pretty old and really need updating. Obviously the most recent one that we got is the Dr. Evazan from the vintage collection. Still a half decent figure. I have noticed something though, that the hinge on his leg is brown. So that's something that, you know, if they were to ever re-release this figure, they would probably sort that out. It would remain black, just like the rest of his boots. But yeah, still a good looking figure. I love the Luke Skywalker's poncho and the accessories that he comes with. And I very much like that Sand Trooper as well. I think it's a decent one. So what do you think, Little Bossk?
My favourite is probably the Sand Trooper because it's got half sand, half not.
Yeah, it is definitely a good Sand Trooper. I totally agree. He's going to look good with all the other Sand Troopers, I've got to admit. Even though he is quite old in terms of sculpt, he isn't going to look too much out of place. So there you go then, guys. Let us know if you've enjoyed the video. Have you got any of these figures already in your collection? Thank you so much for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.